long time coming. I know it went through your committee, if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so we did cut go, which is our commitment to America too, right? When we built the rules of how this house would operate. So if you look at the back of the bill, there are very specific programs listed to cut to cover where we increase the money. So for example, the bonus that's going to go to the retention bonus that's going to go to the Border Patrol guys, $9,000 roughly per agent. That's $100 million. You can see where we take that money from in there. It's a minimal amount, but the cuts are at the bottom of the bill, and the plus ups are in those personnel numbers.
Last question. We're trying Central America, so Secretary of New York has just put out a proposal to help ease the influx once Title 42 comes to an end. Part of that proposal is to create more processing centers in Central America. Do you think that would in any way reduce the volume of migrants coming to the U.S. border?
What President Biden and Secretary Mayorkas are doing are doubling down on the failed policies that created this problem rather than working with us to solve the problem. Again, we have the most generous immigration system in the world. America lets in over 1 million people a year legally into our country. It's part of the American dream story that we all tell. So many of us are families of immigrants. And there is a legal process to come here. And I think that's what the president forgets about, is that people want to get back to the legal process. So this idea that you just create more opportunities for people to come here illegally and then look the other way, that's what created the dreamer problem. That's what created this new problem, is that there's no mechanism when they send them to other states to take care of those folks. They don't care about those people. They're just bringing them here for some political agenda, and then they don't care what happens to them after, but they have no plan for them. What we're saying is let's get back to the legal system that should be working for everybody. Everybody should know what the rules are to come to America, just like any other country. Other countries have limits on how many people come into their nations, and their numbers are a lot lower than ours. Name a nation that's close to us. Over 1 million people a year we let in legally every year.
The more you incentivize people, the bigger the wave will be. And all the processing centers do is provide more incentive. Oh, the door's even more open. All I got to do is get a coyote from the drug cartel to fill out my CBP One app for me. I'm sure they're paying another little extra fee to get that done. Every single thing Alejandro Mayorkas is doing is to speed more people into this country. You take a look at his budget. It's intentional. They cut CBP and put billions more into a contingency fund to bring more people into the country. This is intentional. And the drug cartels fentanyl in here and make more money. And you ask the parents of that, how many of you have was crawling around on the floor of a VRBO in Florida? The tenant before had fentanyl. The little baby was dead. Every single American is at risk for these ridiculous open door policies. Well, we've had enough. And these bills and the men that have done, and men and women who've done the work to put this together are saying no more.
And I do want to make this point before the final question, because we haven't talked about this yet. Today, we've talked about this in other settings, and I think all of you know this. However much it gets covered, it's not enough. What President Biden has done to open up the southern border has created a multi-billion-dollar industry for the drug cartels of Mexico. President Biden is providing billions of dollars to the drug cartels in Mexico, who now have operational control over our southern border. Every American ought to be outraged about that, and by the way, most are. And not only are they getting a multi-billion-dollar windfall, the drug cartels, what they're doing to these young kids. We've seen it, the rapes, the human trafficking.